We all know that living close to nature brings many health benefits. But have you ever wondered why greenery has such a unique appeal? The role of trees in producing oxygen and absorbing CO2 is undeniable. We breathe fresh air thanks to the photosynthesis process of trees. However, the benefits of trees go far beyond that. Many studies have shown that exposure to nature, especially trees, significantly reduces stress, anxiety, and depression. Just a short time spent in a park or garden can leave us feeling more relaxed and refreshed. In addition to its effects on mental health, trees also bring physical health benefits. Studies have proven that living near greenery helps reduce the risk of cardiovascular diseases. Surprisingly, trees can also influence human behavior. Research shows that people who are regularly exposed to nature tend to be kinder and more tolerant. Furthermore, increasing the green space in an area has been found to help reduce crime rates. Specifically, trees have the ability to mitigate crime within communities. According to statistics, for every 10% increase in canopy cover, crime rates decrease depending on the type of crime. For example, violent crimes, drug-related offenses, and thefts drop by up to 11.3%, while assaults decrease by around 10.3%. Therefore, in any situation, planting more trees can be an effective way to enhance security and create a safer community. Trees not only sustain our environment, but also nourish the human spirit and foster moral values. So, have you ever wondered if the trees around us can sense what's happening? It may sound far-fetched, but a famous experiment in the 1960s raised this very question, sparking considerable debate. Do trees have emotions? Cleve Backster's experiment. Specifically, in 1966, Cleve Backster, a CIA polygraph expert, conducted a bold experiment. He connected a Dracaena plant to a polygraph machine, lie detector, and observed the plant's reactions when he performed various actions, such as burning its leaves or simply imagining doing so. Astonishingly, the polygraph recorded significant changes on the graph whenever Backster intended to harm the plant. The curves on the graph were strikingly similar to what is typically observed when a person experiences fear or stress. From these results, Backster hypothesized that plants possess a form of primary perception, suggesting that plants have a basic level of awareness and can respond to their surroundings, including the thoughts and emotions of humans. A controversial discovery. Backster's experiment ignited a fierce debate within the scientific community. Many argued that the results were due to experimental errors or mere coincidence. However, a significant number of people believed it was evidence that plants possessed a form of consciousness. Most scientists remained skeptical of Backster's claims, as his experiment did not meet rigorous scientific standards, including reproducibility, controlled variables, and the use of appropriate measuring equipment. Plant biologists emphasized that while plants can respond to their environment, these responses are related to physical and chemical factors such as light, water, nutrients, and environmental stress, rather than human emotions or intentions. Cleve Backster's experiment on plants sensing human emotions is considered a fascinating idea, but it lacks credible scientific evidence and is not widely accepted within the scientific community. Nevertheless, it has inspired numerous stories, theories, and debates about plant sentience. The experiment is often referenced in books on spirituality, bioconnectivity, and communication with nature. Contemporary experiments continue to explore whether plants respond to non-physical factors such as sound or vibration, but no conclusive evidence has been found to support the claim that plants can perceive as Backster suggested. Why did it spread so widely? Despite lacking a solid scientific foundation, the experiment gained widespread popularity because it stimulated human imagination and curiosity about the potential connection between plants and emotions. This phenomenon can be explained by the common psychological effect known as the placebo effect. In other words, people tend to believe what they want to believe, and when an experiment like this is widely shared, many people will readily accept it as truth. Furthermore, this experiment provides a simple and understandable explanation for a complex phenomenon such as life and death. And among those who share this experiment with educational purposes, it's often to emphasize the importance of words and how we interact with each other. Now, for those who are unfamiliar with or has never heard of the placebo effect, let's continue watching this clip. What is the placebo effect? The placebo effect, also known as the inert treatment effect, is an interesting psychological phenomenon where a person experiences positive changes in their health or psychology after receiving a treatment or being given a substance that, medically speaking, has no direct therapeutic effect, simply because they believe it will work. In other words, the efficacy of this treatment primarily comes from the patient's belief in it. The term placebo comes from the Latin word meaning "I shall please," suggesting that the treatment can please the patient, even if it has no direct biological effect. Why is the placebo effect significant? The placebo effect demonstrates the power of the human mind. It also shows that belief can influence the outcome of an experiment, even when the experiment is designed to control for psychological factors. The origins of the placebo effect. The placebo effect is a psychological phenomenon that has been observed and documented for centuries, though scientific research into it only began in the 20th century. Ancient and medieval medicine, many ancient civilizations, such as the Greeks, Romans, and Indians, employed unconventional treatments based on beliefs, religions, psychology, rituals, and natural substances to cure diseases. These methods were often accompanied by affirmations of their efficacy, creating a rudimentary form of the placebo effect. Patients often had strong faith in the healing power of these methods, leading to improvements in their health, even when the treatments did not have any direct physiological effects. Ancient physicians, such as Hippocrates and Galen, used the power of persuasion and belief to aid in treatment. The efficacy of these methods often relied more on the patient's faith in the physician's abilities than on the actual effectiveness of the treatment. Traditional medicine. Traditional medicine systems, like traditional Chinese medicine, often combine herbal remedies with practices such as acupuncture, acupressure, and dietary and lifestyle advice. These elements not only have physiological effects, but also create a positive psychological impact. The term placebo first appeared in medical literature in the 18th century. At that time, physicians sometimes prescribed ineffective treatments to reassure patients. In A New Medical Dictionary, 1811, a placebo was defined as a remedy intended to satisfy the patient, rather than provide actual treatment. Modern scientific research. One of the most famous studies on the placebo effect occurred during World War II. It was when the wonders of the placebo effect were first introduced to scientific research, following observations and studies conducted by Henry Beecher, a Harvard physician serving as a medical officer on the European battlefield. During the invasion of southern Italy, the excessive number of wounded American soldiers depleted the supply of morphine painkillers. One of Beecher's nurses was forced to lie to the wounded soldiers, telling them she was injecting them with painkillers, when in fact, it was only saline injections. Surprisingly, Beecher later observed that up to 40% of these wounded soldiers felt their pain was alleviated. Subsequently, he returned to Harvard and began focusing his research on this topic. He published his first scientific paper in 1955, titled "The Powerful Placebo," stating that fake drugs or treatments were highly effective in treating subjective responses. He made a significant contribution to popularizing the concept of the placebo effect in the scientific and medical community. He helped scientists recognize the importance of psychological factors in the treatment of diseases. Years later, scientists spent a long time searching for the biological mechanism behind the placebo effect, but their work was stagnant with unconvincing hypotheses. The deadlock was broken in 1974, after two American scientists, Robbie Simantov and Solomon Snyder, discovered endorphins, a substance secreted by the pituitary gland in the brain that can produce pain-relieving and euphoric effects similar to morphine. This discovery led to a novel hypothesis for the placebo effect. Scientists believed that the brain could produce its own drugs. Applications of the placebo effect. In medicine, the placebo effect is utilized in clinical trials to compare the efficacy of a new drug against a placebo. It is also employed to enhance the effectiveness of other treatment methods. For instance, in clinical trials, when doctors administer a placebo capsule containing wheat flour to patients with hypertension and inform them that it is an antihypertensive medication, the patient's blood pressure has been observed to actually decrease after taking the placebo. A series of studies and experiments have shown that placebos are effective for conditions such as insomnia, anxiety disorders, and irritable bowel syndrome, and notably, placebos can function as a form of pain relief. The placebo effect has even been applied in surgical procedures for patients suffering from back pain or knee issues, yielding remarkable results for these patients. The placebo effect, with its power of belief and expectation, extends beyond the realm of medicine and significantly influences various other areas of life. In psychology, the placebo effect is studied to better understand the mind-body relationship. Therapists frequently leverage the placebo effect in hypnotherapy, depression treatment, and anxiety disorder treatment. In marketing and advertising, companies leverage the placebo effect in advertising by fostering positive beliefs and developing compelling brand stories. This often involves creating an aura of exclusivity or prestige, particularly for luxury brands. Positive reviews from other consumers significantly influence purchasing decisions. Many products, such as nutritional supplements, are marketed with claims of health benefits that may not be fully substantiated. However, consumers often perceive improvements due to their belief in the product's efficacy, a phenomenon known as placebo marketing. For instance, a renowned restaurant may enhance the dining experience by creating an expectation of exceptional food, even if the actual quality is comparable to that of a regular establishment. In education and sports, when teachers foster self-belief and create a positive learning environment, students are more motivated to learn. Similarly, the enthusiastic support of a large crowd can significantly enhance athletes' performance. Individuals who believe in their abilities are more likely to achieve their goals. In conclusion, the placebo effect is a powerful psychological phenomenon with far-reaching implications. By understanding this effect, we can harness it to our advantage and gain insights into the profound impact of beliefs and expectations on various aspects of life. Mechanisms. The placebo effect operates on a common mechanism across various domains. Belief plays a pivotal role, as individuals tend to search for confirmation of their expectations. High expectations serve as a catalyst for motivation, driving individuals to achieve better results. Furthermore, the surrounding environment and the people around us can significantly shape our perceptions and expectations. Is there a dark side to the placebo effect? Yes, it's called the nocebo effect. While the placebo effect demonstrates that positive beliefs can lead to remarkable therapeutic outcomes, the nocebo effect reveals the power of negative beliefs to create real symptoms. Individuals who believe a substance or treatment will cause adverse reactions may indeed experience those symptoms, even if the substance or treatment is harmless. Unfortunately, this phenomenon can be exploited by dishonest individuals to sell ineffective products or services. Industries such as multi-level marketing, dietary supplements, and beauty products often leverage the nocebo effect to create demand for their offerings. The placebo effect is a double-edged sword. While it can be a powerful tool in healthcare, it can also be exploited. Therefore, it is crucial to enhance consumers' scientific literacy and ensure that products and services on the market adhere to health and legal standards. Consumers should be wary, always seeking scientific evidence and consulting with reputable experts before using any health-related products or services. By being informed and cautious, we can protect ourselves and our loved ones from scams. Today's video ends here. Don't hesitate to leave a comment below to let me know if you liked this video. Please share the love and give it a thumb up, as well as hit the subscribe button so you never miss an update from us. Thanks for watching and see you soon. Bye-bye.